first century CE, the region that is now the United States was vastly different from today. It was inhabited by Native American tribes with no unified political structures or modern infrastructure. Here's a concise overview. Top 30 interesting facts about America in the first century. 1. Native populations. Indigenous tribes such as the ancestral Puebloans, Hopewell and Adena cultures were thriving. 2. Hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Many tribes depended on hunting, fishing and foraging for sustenance. 3. Agriculture beginnings. Corn maize was cultivated in some regions, marking early agricultural practices. 4. Mound builders. The Adena and Hopewell cultures built large earthen mounds for ceremonial purposes. 5. Trade networks. Extensive trade routes connected tribes across North America. 6. Use of tools. Stone, bone and wood tools were common for hunting and daily tasks. 7. Pottery. The development of pottery for storage and cooking was notable. 8. Climatic influence. The environment dictated settlement patterns and resources. 9. Animal domestication. Dogs were among the few domesticated animals. 10. Oral traditions. Knowledge and history were passed down through storytelling. 11. Social structures. Tribes had clan-based systems with leaders or councils. 12. Spiritual practices. Animistic beliefs centered on nature and spirits. 13. Ceremonial practices. Rituals often included dances, feasts, and offerings. For regional diversity, the lifestyle varied from the Arctic Inuit to the desert-dwelling Puebloans. 15. Woodland period. The eastern woodlands saw cultural development and mound building. 16. Diet. Deer, bison, fish, and nuts formed the primary diet. 17. Clothing. Made from animal skins, plant fibers, and natural dyes. 18. Shelters, wigwams, longhouses, and cliff dwellings were common structures. 19. Flint knapping. Stone tools and arrowheads were expertly crafted. 20. Art. Early art included carvings, beads, and painted designs. 21. Great Plains tribes. Nomadic tribes followed bison herds. 22. Pacific Northwest. Tribes relied on fishing, especially salmon. 23. Desert cultures. Ancestral Puebloans built irrigation systems for farming. 24. Shell mounds. Coastal tribes used shells for tools and trade. 25. No written records. Information comes from archaeological evidence. 26. Health and medicine. Natural remedies from plants and herbs were used. 27. Animal symbolism. Totems and effigies represented spiritual beliefs. 28. Regional conflicts. Occasionally, tribes competed for resources. 29. Adaptation to environment. Tribes adapted uniquely to forests, deserts, plains, and coasts. 30. Isolation. The Americas were disconnected from the major civilizations of Eurasia and Africa. Top 10 unique events in the first century. 1. Hopewell culture emergence. Flourished in the Ohio River Valley with extensive trade networks. 2. Construction of Great Serpent Mound, a significant ceremonial mound in Ohio. Advances in agriculture, early cultivation of squash, beans, and maize. 4. Cliff-dwelling beginnings. Early Puebloans began experimenting with rock shelters. 5. Trade in exotic goods. Items like obsidian and copper moved across vast distances. 6. Cultural expansion. Woodland cultures expanded their territories and practices. 7. Elaboration of burial practices. Mounds became more intricate and symbolic. 8. Coastal innovations. Pacific tribes developed canoes for fishing and travel. 9. Population growth. Villages grew larger with more stable food supplies. 10. Cultural isolation. The Americas remained unaffected by Eurasian influences like the Roman Empire. Summary. America in the first century was a land of diverse Native American culture, each uniquely adapted to its environment. While there were no large empires or cities, tribes thrived through innovation, resourcefulness, and strong community ties. Spiritual beliefs, early agricultural practices, and extensive trade networks characterized the era, laying the groundwork for future developments in pre-Columbian history. A question for the audience. What can we learn from the harmony and resourcefulness of first-century Native American tribes to tackle modern environmental and societal challenges?